the Smoking Den. I'm your host tonight, Smokey Dan. And I'll tell you something. About 2-3 days ago, I was at a Alec Bradley event at a local tobacconist. And, I was picking up some new cigars, seeing what was going on with the market, with Alec Bradley. And it dawned on me, it's been about 4 years since I reviewed an Alec Bradley cigar. So, obviously one is overdue. One thing that annoys me about Alec Bradley is I think they make a lot of great cigars. In fact, I've liked all the cigars that I've had from them, or that have been made by them, with the exception of I think the Prensado and the Family Blend, both of which have a Corojo wrapper, which says more about the Corojo wrapper than does about the cigars. But they make several good cigars, including the Tri-Press Trilogy that was introduced about 10 years ago. It's like they make these great cigars, same with the Vice Press, and they just stopped making them. It kind of annoys me a little bit. Fortunately, they just started making the Vice Press again. This is the Alec Bradley New York Toro. It's also called the Empire. It's 6x54. I've already punched it. It has a 98 Criollo wrapper and a blend of Nicaraguan and Honduran fillers and binder. The presentation, it's a slightly rough wrapper. It looks a lot rougher than it touches, but it's very, very veiny, and there are tons of black spots. This cigar is like a big brown Dalmatian. Very light, sharp cedar coming in that first couple of puffs on the front palate, with a little bit of toasted nut flavor coming in the bottom palate. That toasted nut is really coming in just on the finish, and it's really lingering. And it's really, really good. It's very delicate. This nutty flavor is becoming a lot more dominant with the cedar just in the backdrop, but all the flavors are very nuanced, very delicate. It's also a lot milder than I'm expecting from Alec Bradley. I usually expect some pretty powerful cigars from them, and this is definitely at its strongest on the mild to medium spectrum. Just a couple flavors coming in, but there's enough dimension within those flavors that it's interesting. There's a little bit of an airiness to that cedar that I'll be curious to explore, but obviously I've got a few inches left to smoke, so we'll be back in a couple seconds on your YouTube screen with the verdict. And we're back with the verdict on this Alec Bradley New York Empire. There have definitely been some interesting developments. That cedar flavor just completely died away after the first inch, and the rest of the first half of the cigar was dominated by this very complex nutty flavor. And it was so complex it was layered. And it was so layered that it almost was like it was terraced. You could feel the layers of nuttiness in your mouth, which is pretty interesting. But that's the only thing that was going on up until the first half, the beginning of the second half. And that's when some cream flavors started to come in the backdrop, and they've become more and more dominant as I've been smoking the cigar. And now at the end, it's all that's there is a nice sweet cream flavor that lingers a little bit on the finish. The draw's been excellent. The ash is hideous. The construction, I had a little bit of a problem with the burn, but it's corrected itself in the first third. Then on the second third, it went out, and I had to relight it. And there was also a small split in the wrapper that wasn't big enough to really to mar the cigar at all. But nonetheless, I got to knock it down a little bit because of these imperfections. Overall, it's a solid stick. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's a good cigar. It's $7.70. That's what I paid for it. I certainly would not dissuade you from trying it. Like I say, it's a good cigar. I think there are better cigars out there for the money. Personally, if I'm going to go for a cigar with a Criollo wrapper, I think that the Carlos Toronto Silver Exodus is a better stick. But that's just personal opinion. Give it a shot, see what you think. It's also become, I went from mild to medium in body to a very mild cigar, which is a bit of a surprise coming from Alec Bradley, especially with the combination of fillers that this has. But in any case, it is what it is. If you want a mild Criollo wrapper, it's a good stick. In any case, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. So many more great videos coming right your way. And plenty of others if you're new to the channel to look back. We've been at this for about 4 years, so we have a bit of an archive. Feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to like. Feel free to dislike. In any case, keep smoking whatever you're smoking. And we will see you around for the next review.